I don't think it's like, it's not like unique though, or like it wouldn't make for a character in a game. Like it's kind of generic. All right, so now we got this dude. Okay, why haven't I leveled up yet? Everyone's leveling up but me. Plus, we already know your voice is going to be in the next Red Dead game. Me? Each level you can increase one of your character's attributes, yes. Each of these attributes provides benefits, yes. And increasing an attribute costs 1 point until the attribute score reaches 19. Okay, then it costs 2. Okay. Barrack. So what's Barrack all about? He's got very high dodge. I thought he'd be more slower. I thought he'd be more tanky, but no, he's very high dodge. But he's good at one-handed and two-handed weapons. Yeah, I mean, a dodge tank, is that a thing? Yeah, I mean, he does have some tanky stuff. Like, his health is high. Let's make him more tanky. Okay. Really solid. So now we have 3 members of our party. Yay! Yay! Can we talk to this guy? Isotanus curses the air as a blade of thin iron breaks in half beneath his hammer. Repairing weapons with scrap isn't exactly why I got into this craft, but our supplies are spent. He wipes the sweat from his brow and gives a better look at you. Ah! Why did I gain wrath? I didn't do anything. I would be sizing and adjusting a lot more around here, but I have less scouts to tend to thanks to the chorus that poisoned them. Oh yeah, I did that. That was my choice. I did that. That was me. He takes another hard swing at the already broken sword, this time smashing it to pieces. Of course you would know about all these two-faced murderers since you defended them. Court makes no apologies. No matter, the court has its own concerns, I'm sure. Right now I'm more concerned with the iron shortage. Bronze will do in a pinch, but don't get me wrong. It can take a beating and get bent back into shape, unlike the stubborn iron we have here. He glances at the pile of his work with dread, and we have always plenty of tin and copper lying around, so supplies aren't the problem. It's a rare smith who can churn out military-grade bronze consistently. More often than not, it comes out soft. Look around camp. We're garbing the Legion head to toe in iron because it's cheaper and easier to produce for the masses. Couldn't do that with bronze. Of course, some of us do go overboard from time to time. They call the disfavored the Iron Legion for a reason. Strategy and skill may be our backbone, but our claws are made of iron. The good stuff that comes from the Smiths and Lethian's Crossing. I'm afraid so. The last shipment sent down the Mittani went missing near Echo Call Crossing, and I'm afraid we won't be seen anymore now that the valley is sealed. Forge-bound iron is Tunon's responsibility. Why is this the first I'm hearing of? Keep your voice down. Isotanus flinches and lowers his own. Graven Ash doesn't want to cause a panic or pass any information to the Avenging Guard. Best case scenario, the iron tumbled off a boat and is rusting on the riverbed. Worst case, it ends up in enemies' hands. I've been instructed to aid in Operation Echo Call. I'll keep an eye out for your shipment. I appreciate that, as does the great general, more than you might guess. Maybe he isn't quick to offer his thanks to outsiders, but I know he'll be grateful for your help. It would be a boon to the war effort if our iron is recovered. I knew that Tunon wouldn't have dispatched you without good reason. The court isn't exactly known for gambling when the stakes are high. He glances to the crate beside him and points to a small set of notches on the wood. You see that? This is how we tell apart our iron shipments from the rest. Inconspicuous so people don't go snooping around. You'll want to keep your eye out for these. Good hunting. Okay. Alright, I think we're going to go now. What's this? Loot? A shield. Loot indeed. Okay. So we went there. Alright, let's go back out this way. I'm enjoying it, Tobin. It's really cool. Like, it's very solid. The story is very interesting too. Like, there's so many choices that you have to make, and it affects the entire game. Does it matter which point we go to? Okay, so we are here. Echo Call Crossing, Scarlet Course Camp, and Northern Clearing. So that's the furthest away, so we might as well go to the one that's closer first. Like, we have to go through it anyways. The Scarlet Course have taken residence within the decayed walls of an old fortress. It is currently the base of operations for the Voices of the Rats campaign in the valley. Your path is blocked by a small group of Vendrian Guard. Getting attacked. What's up, Whiskey?
That's far enough, Fatebinder.
A woman's voice booms from atop a nearby outcropping. Flashes of aquamarine body paint peek out from under her loose-fitting traveler's garb. And her outfit is festooned in braids and knots of sailor's line. Flanked on either side by warriors dressed in Vendrian Guard regalia, the woman leans on an elaborate bladed staff pulsing with arcane energy. A swath of blue fabric rests draped over her arm. Diplomacy. The blue flag is a symbol of diplomacy and truce recognized across most of the known world.
Did the Voices of Nurat send you to gather my head and complete his collection? If so, we'll have to save our tussle for another time. Today I have business. Vengeance can wait.
You recognize this woman as Tidecaster Ebb, whom you met along with the other Tidecaster in the year 429 TR during the first campaign in Vendrian's Well. Meeting under a blue flag, you spoke primarily with the elders of the School of Tides to negotiate their surrender to Kairos.
You may have consigned
What's up,
my
Lord?
school to a fate worse than death, but you've done well by the Vendrian Guard. Many of them are alive today thanks to the truce you forged years back. They seem to think you have a trace of nobility in you. Here's hoping they're right. In accordance with ancient customs north and south, I offer and request a delay of blade. There are matters we must discuss without fear of reprisal.
The woman bows deeply, lowering her head in a practiced display of etiquette. The warriors by her remain in a ready stance, their nerves clearly on edge. In accordance with ancient customs north and south, I abide by this truce.
As is our custom, we are ready to kill to defend our lands, but we kill only in fair battle. We don't slay our prisoners. We know this isn't Kairos' way, but we must.
What's up, Kojito?
A few of my kin have gone missing, and though they may have perished, I have to inquire on the off chance they still live. If Captain Tarkus Deimos still lives, we would negotiate for his release.
That's the guy that we encountered in the beginning. And, yeah, they took him. Assuming he's a prisoner, what would you offer in exchange?
We would offer you 5 choirmen that got lost on patrol. They're healthy. Got other limbs, too.
I would not have us barter with oathbreakers. Certainly not for anything less than disfavored lives.
You say there's something worth less than a disfavored life. Call me intrigued.
Should we tell him he's dead?
I see. That is as I feared, but thank you for telling me all the same. I prefer closure to wishful thinking.
Is that Kazoo?
If I may make one more inquiry. What of Palox Tyrell? Did he survive?
Yeah, this is the guy that somebody stabbed with a spear. Another dead oathbreaker. Whomever you will ask about next, I can assure you nothing can be done.
My apologies, Fatebinder. I had a terrible feeling this errand was in vain from the start. I had no expectations that our friends could be saved, as I'm sure the time for swapping prisoners is long gone. But at least I know of what became of them. That'll have to be enough.
Should we ask her questions? Or just leave? Or should we leave while we're ahead?
We shouldn't be socializing with oathbreakers.
I will entertain them as best I can. After all, understanding is the only hope we have. What is it you wish to know?
Why do you resist Kairos? What are you trying to save?
I grew up without my knee bent to Kairos. And if I'm going to bow to someone, let it be another Tearsman. We've ruled ourselves just fine for centuries, so we'll give our lives so that our sons and daughters might rule themselves.
What's up, William Y? The younger realms were beset with constant battle. You prefer that to Kairos' order?
You make conflict sound like a bad thing. Yes, the younger realms saw frequent battles, but it was never this wholesale slaughter like we've seen of late. No Tearsman ever cast an edict on the soil, or forced prisoners to kill each other, or butchered beastmen tribes.
Only your daughters are really free in the Tears. Why fight against Kairos' equality?
There's freedom, then there's trusting idiots with power. Give a man 1,000,000 marauders, he'll lose sleep worrying over his neighbor's 1,000. I prefer my realms ruled by the braver sex. For centuries we've left the lands to the women, and the seas to the men. And we did plenty fine until Kairos came around.
But a mage like you would not be the subject of such superstition and fear.
I doubt life is any better sworn to some mad Archon. I'd rather stand with my fellow Tearsmen. Or, I suppose, stand immediately behind them in the event of an attack.
At that remark, the soldiers flanking her exchange shocked looks. Ebb turns her focus to her compatriots.
Yeah, you heard me. Way things were years back, you'd all be calling me a water witch and conspiring to sell me out to the nearest sage. Just because I'm helping you stop Kairos doesn't mean I've forgotten the hospitality of ages past.
And people wonder why the Tearsmen could never unite in time to fight back. It's refreshing to see that some things never change.
Who's in charge of this insurrection?
Listen to you. Thinking just like the Overlord wants you to think. There always has to be a person in charge, or things don't make sense. Well, we don't answer to anyone. We are each of us sons and daughters of the Tears, and take this task upon ourselves freely. But Captain Tarkus Ari, former Falksman of Queen Vendry and Alanta, is the voice we trust when we seek unanimity.
Unanimity. Wow, that's a word. How's this game? It's pretty cool, this track. It's like, it's very interesting. I'm enjoying it. I assume Targus Ari and Targus Demos are relations.
Yes. Deimos was.
Ooh,
Ari's
that's
brother.
interesting.
We were certain he was dead, but the captain takes family seriously.
We have his
So I
brother.
volunteered to find some answers.
But
And now here we
he's
are.
not dead. We lied. We have his brother. Oh shit.
That is our way, Binder. Here in the south, only thugs and
Nice,
bandits
William.
kill
Why
prisoners.
nice?
The younger realms may be guilty of constant fighting, but we never slay each other when the battle's long over. We're not about to change that now.
What's up, DJ Tech Live? How's
As
it
a
going?
rule, Kairos' forces haven't been keen on swapping prisoners. But I know our disfavored prisoners aren't prisoners anymore. I just assumed they were swapped for some of our own.
How did you and your friends overthrow the garrison?
I would joke that the voices of Narat left the gate unlatched, but dozens of warriors lost their lives taking the citadel. There was no secret to it. We simply attacked with speed and certainty at a time when the Archons were elsewhere in the tiers. The Scarlet Chorus had a rout, and what few disfavored soldiers were present made an impressive showing. But they were surrounded and overwhelmed once the chorus fled. Fair enough. But now a question for you. The Edict. I can feel its magic coursing through the air. Everyone can. But those of us enlightened to the currents of magic feel it most. The wording of the Edict. What was it?
Okay, this could be an interesting decision. Because if we tell her, so like if we tell her that, like what the edict actually says, then she, like, they could use that against us. Your treachery knows no bounds. She could use that against us because then she'll know that we also have to compromise. But it could, like, I don't know. Or we could lie and say it's a curse on the valley. Those disloyal to Kairos will slowly weaken and die. I think we gotta go with the lie.
Two armies aren't enough. Kairos needs an edict to weaken us too? We must have the Overlord terrified. Well, if that is our fate, so be it. Seems no worse than fire bubbling up from the soil. Thank you for letting me know.
It's going well, DJ. It's really interesting.
I have another question for you, if you will entertain it.
Are we really standing here and chatting with Oathbreakers? It's hard to watch. Like cuddling a goat you're going to kill for dinner.
When I was young, my parents told me the Tears were special, and the Overlord's edicts and armies could never touch us. Seems I've been told a hefty sum of lies. So answer this honestly for me, please. Is it true that Tunon's fate binders can smell truth from falsehood?
The Tears special, the Overlord's edicts and armies could never touch us. Is it true that Tunon's fate binders can smell truth from falsehood? Man, I don't know. Should we just glare? What's up, Space? And yeah, it is really interesting. I think that they like what I'm liking about this game is they've done like a really good job of repeating and like clarifying the lore and stuff. I feel like with a lot of RPGs and stuff, it can get very overwhelming because you're learning like an entire world and backstory and stuff. But in this, you actually created the backstory yourself when you play the conquest part. So it really helps to like get a foothold of actually what's happening. What's up, Louie? Just glare at her? That's what I was thinking. Let's just glare and let her interpret that.
Well, if it were true, you'd happily brag about it, and if it weren't, you'd probably just sit there and bluff. There's my answer. And Kairos' edicts. I have heard the sages speak at length that some of the edicts elsewhere in the world have been broken. How is this?
It varies based on the wording of the proclamation. If Kairos provides a clause allowing the edict to end, the clause can be satisfied. Should we use? I think we should use her lore.
Ah, so some edicts are forever. The rest are, as long as Kairos has in mind? Needless to say, Kairos' magic is unlike anything we've seen in any Archon. And one more mildly self-indulgent question, but I simply must know. Kairos, male or female?
The Overlord is mother and father. The question is irrelevant.
Fine. I've heard that answer before. Sorry I asked. You'll forgive, I hope, the questions. The Overlord and his Archons used to be things of legend. Now they're everyday maladies, and I'm eager to separate the truth from the lies I've been told by house and guild. In accordance to our most ancient customs, let us depart in honorable accord. May peace find you, Fatebinder.
Peace. What's up, gamer? Peace. I don't know why you're facepalming, Craig. I'm kind of confused. What? Should we search around? Maybe there's some loot? I don't think so. Alright, let's go. Alright, we continue to the Scarlet Chorus camp. I made friends with the enemy. No, we're not friends. We just were civil. Okay guys, it's already 3 o'clock, so before we go into this camp, I'm going to save. And we're gonna pick up on here tomorrow. We're gonna switch to some Rainbow Six for the rest of the stream. But yeah, we will definitely continue this at the start of tomorrow's stream. So if you want to see what happens, if you want to see the story continue, tune in tomorrow, start the stream 11 o'clock.